This. So, hello, I'm Jeremy Parrish, bumbling my way through the Game Boy Advance's 15th anniversary. Um, I'm playing cool video games on Game Boy Advance. Actually, GameCube's Game Boy Player, but it's the same thing. So, we're going to start with Castlevania. This is the Castlevania double pack that combines Harmony of Dissonance and Aria of Sorrow. I'm going to go with the better of the two games because, seriously, why wouldn't you? Um, Castlevania saw three releases on Game Boy Advance. I hope you guys can hear this. The GameCube is like really, really loud, so please give me a shout in the stream if you're having trouble hearing or if the audio for the game is too loud or whatever. I'm going to kind of just feel my way forward until I hear one way or the other from everyone. So, anyway, today is, actually, Monday was the 15th anniversary of the Game Boy Advance's launch in Japan, March 21st, 2001. And Castlevania was released sometime after that, like 2003, June or so. It's awesome, though. Anyway, it's been a while since I've played this cartridge, but I know that I have like save files. Yeah, there we go. I can start a brand new save with completed game data. Total time on that save is 20 hours, so that's the more advanced one. So let's see what happens if I play hard difficulty with Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. No game audio, says the stream. Okay. Let me turn it up a little bit. I had to turn it down from my usual settings, the audio, because for whatever reason, the GameCube Game Boy Player is like an order of magnitude louder than any other system I have running through this upscaler. Someone in the credits is lamenting that I can't play WarioWare Twisted on this setup. That is a shame, but we're going to play Castlevania anyway because it's awesome. Anyway, you guys don't need to see the intro. This was the third and final Castlevania game on Game Boy Advance. Like I said, it was released in 2003. That's actually, just 2 years after the system came out. Kind of a quick run for Castlevania. It launched, or near launch, you had Circle of the Moon, and then about a year later, Harmony of Dissonance. And then you had this one, which was made by the same team as Harmony of Dissonance, but was a much better and more lively game. There's a lot of depth to it. It really feels like a proper follow-up to Symphony of the Night. I know Symphony of the Night versus Aria of Sorrow is kind of the Super Mario Bros. 3 versus Super Mario World of Castlevania, at least, post 16-bit Castlevania. And I don't know which one I like better. This is a great game, though. I have a lot of really fond memories of this, but I also have a lot of fond memories of Symphony of the Night. So I'm going to be wishy-washy in this year of presidential elections and waffle a bit and say they're both awesome. Anyway, I'm going to skip right ahead through the story because you guys don't need to see it. All right, so this is a completed save file. I'm starting over. I don't have any of the the navigational powers that are essential for completing the game, like finding new areas. So I can't double jump, but I do have basically all this awesome stuff from late in the game. The silver gun's actually not that powerful, but this Castlevania game takes place in the future, so there's something kind of nice about running around shooting a handgun. It gives it a different feel. There's also like a super powerful laser I think you can get, but I don't know if I've ever actually managed to capture that. But you can see the attack power over there. There's some weapons in here that are way more powerful than what I have equipped right now, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and use the silver gun, at least for now. Like I said, this is a new game plus mode, so all my equipment carries over. I'm playing on hard mode, which probably won't make too much of a difference as far as I'm going to play in the stream, because I'm going to be facing off against really simple enemies, and I have like high-level armor, and also a handgun, so that's cool. The gun has great range and is fairly powerful. but it does have some limitations in that it can only kill a single enemy at a time. The bullets don't have a piercing effect, so it's much less useful than swords and that sort of thing. The great thing about this game is that it's very much in the Symphony of the Night spirit, where you don't have just one weapon. I think there is a whip-like sword, more so than so you can have kind of more of a traditional Castlevania experience than you could in Symphony of the Night. But okay, now I've got my first special soul. What was I saying? Oh yeah, it's still, you know, much more varied than the sort of classic Belmont Castlevania games. So, you know, take that as you will. Alright, so I'm going to save over the file that I had before. So I've committed, there's no turning back now, I have to start all over with my 20-hour save file or whatever. Yeah. So, you know, lots of classic Castlevania references here. I mean, this is obviously right here patterned after the entryway to the original Castlevania, with the fishman jumping up underneath and the passage you have to go beneath. And I have the special soul. That's the gimmick in this game. You don't get well, you do get equipment, but your powers are based on capturing enemy souls, and there's a story reason for that. But you can really customize the hero Soma and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Bullets apparently are stronger than armor. That's good to know for the future. We're gonna revolutionize combat. There's a boss right there that I can go fight. Why not? If I die, I die. The gun does have somewhat limited range, so I can't just stand at the edge of the arena and spam, which is a shame. Okay, there we go. Now he's in range and he's dead. Yeah, so even though it's hard mode, I'm kind of being a little cheesy here by carrying over my in-game equipment, but I think I'm allowed, because if I'm not mistaken, this save file is like a 100% save file where I have pretty much everything. All right, there's the castle map. This is the only, I think the only Igavania that doesn't have a second castle. Like, what you see is what you get. But there's a lot to this castle, and there's kind of like the weird disconnected parts up at the top, and a hidden secret, a special ending, so on and so forth. But you know, all the good stuff you expect from your Castlevania games. Oh wow, there's a lot happening in the chat I hadn't even noticed. I said on Twitter that I wouldn't be able to play this game because I lost my Castlevania Double Pack cartridge that I'm playing right now, but clearly I found it shortly before this broadcast began. So hooray for me. I just had to find it in the right spot. And as I mentioned before, I am playing this on a GameCube Game Boy player. Okay, so I can't get up here. I don't think. No, I don't have the right equipment. So I have to go straight ahead. I don't know why I backtracked. I'm very forgetful. Anyway, so let's just zip on through here. Aria of Sorrow did have a sequel, not on Game Boy Advance, but on DS. That was kind of it was actually the first DS Castlevania game, which did have one creative decision that no one agrees with, which was drawing the sigils to defeat bosses. But aside from that, was a completely awesome game. Really kind of a big graphical step above this one, and showed off the DS's relative power versus the Game Boy Advance, despite not really, you know, pushing 3D graphics or anything. Great game. So anyway, I was talking about the soul system in this game, and it feels like Koji Igarashi, the producer of this game, reacted to... What's this? Aha, flying armor. That'll be useful. The card system, dual soul system in Circle of the Moon, and said I can do that one better. Although it's hard to be worse than the dual soul system since it's so random, and that makes it really frustrating to complete that game. But in this game, enemies randomly drop souls when you kill them. It's pretty uncommon depending on the enemy. Some are more common than others, like the peeping eye there is extremely uncommon. It's really hard to get his soul. But every enemy has a soul that you can capture and then put to use and equip. And right now I have, what do I have equipped? Oh, nothing. I should put some stuff in here. Okay, so a lot of the sub-weapons that are traditionally in Castlevania, you know, like boomerangs, daggers, et cetera, you know, what is it called? Holy water. Like these are all duplicated with the souls you can acquire. But there's a lot of other stuff you can do. For instance, you can turn into Curly, the famous goddess Curly, the destroyer goddess. Nyuk, nyuk, nyuk. And let's see, wooden golem. Okay. So yes, I can turn into a stooge. There we go. Ah, I'm Curly! Curly's pretty hot. I didn't realize that the stooges had that kind of sex appeal going for them, but that's modern anime facelifts for you. And lots of familiar enemies like Where there. His soul lets you surround yourself with fire, I think. I think I have his soul. I should. I don't think it's that one. I think it's the Curly. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So yeah, there's 3 different kinds of souls. The one I really need right now, though, is the winged skeleton. Wait, is that right? No. I need... Crap, which one was it? Totally forgot. There is a soul that I can use. Oh, right, flying armor, that's it. Sorry for my forgetfulness. Been a while since I've played this. Yeah, there we go. So I can use the armor, the soul that I captured from after the boss to glide past that. It's not quite the same as a double jump, that comes later, but it comes in handy. And again, every enemy has a soul that can be captured and used in different ways. And like I said, I think that I have a 100% save file here, so this save file has me equipped with everything except the story-based progression souls, such as the flying armor and the double jump and so on and so forth. And the soul system plays a key part in finding the true ending for the game, which I'm assuming there's still some people out there who may not have played this game, so I will let you discover what that is on your own, but it is a cool twist. Kind of a telegraphed twist, but that's okay, and comes into play again in the second game. Both of these games, Aria of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow, I've totally maxed out the save files on both because I did a lot of commuting around the time that these first came out, and spent a lot of time on the train to and from work, like 40 minutes each way, just grinding for Valkyrie souls and things like that. But you know, you when you play through the game the second run like this, you really get to kind of maximize all those things you capture. The one thing I don't like about the interface on this game is you see where it says zombie. That appears in a really annoying place because zombies appear out of the ground and they give a little telltale red spot, but you can't see that while you're running to the right. Someone needs to take that UI design element out and have it shot. Holy crap, someone's at my door. I'll be right back. Never mind, that was a false alarm. It just about scared me to death, though. Okay, so hi, I'm back. Sorry about that. Man, I wish it was pizza time. Alright, so where was I? Oh, that's right, I was killing bad guys. I can afford to play really sloppily, as you can see. Everything's hitting me for 1 damage, which doesn't really seem convincingly like hard mode, but I promise this is hard mode. Oh, look at how lazy. Okay, I just got a Skull Archer soul, another Skull Archer soul, but that lets me shoot arrows, I believe. Yep. Not really as useful as daggers because there's kind of a wind-up for it. And also my bullets are much stronger. So guns do beat arrows. We have it confirmed here. The future of combat has been resolved. And another save point. So let's see, I've been talking for about 15 minutes, and I want to show off some other games on the stream, but I kind of love playing Castlevania, so I'm a little bit torn. Maybe I'll play for another 5-10 minutes and then switch over to something else. Actually, one of the games I wanted to play was Rhythm Heaven, which is great, but I don't know if I'd be able to do that on a stream because I have to keep the volume down so you guys aren't getting like echo and stuff. And you can't play Rhythm Heaven, which is, you know, a music game without music. So I'm a little torn there. I was hoping to play Boktai, but that's also not going to work out. I mean, I could play a little of Boktai, but I wouldn't make it anywhere because Boktai requires, you know, it has the solar sensor built into it, and it requires sunlight. And obviously, I'm not streaming outdoors, hence the guy knocking at my door. And yeah, I was hoping that I could buy a black light and trick the solar sensor into thinking I'm in sunlight, but I don't think that works with modern light bulbs now that incandescents have gone out of production and it's all LEDs. I don't think I can get a light bulb. I don't think they make LEDs that emit the UV radiation that the solar sensor demands. I've placed an order for another light bulb that says it's incandescent, but we'll see if that actually works. I'm going to switch to a different weapon just for some variety, because there are so many different kinds of weapons in this game. Like Death's Sickle? Come on. That's crazy. Actually, I'm just like, wow, dressed up as Death. Anyway, so if I can ever get an incandescent bulb that will let me play Boktai on a stream, then I will totally do it. Oh, hey, it's Plot. Shut up, Plot. If I can get an incandescent that will let me play Boktai on a stream, I will stream just an hour of Boktai. But in the meantime, you'll have to live without seeing that. I know that incandescents work because I've actually played the game that way. I made some people kind of angry, actually, a long time ago when I was working at oneup.com by posting a photo of a Boktai cartridge plugged into a DS capture kit, which apparently, I guess you're not supposed to show in photographs or something. It's like confidential. I don't know. It was really weird. So people got really ticked off at me about it. But it definitely worked. And you don't have to use a capture kit to be able to play Boktai. You just need any kind of device that you can hold near a what do you call it? An incandescent black light. But if you do want to play it on a television or just at night, having that special kind of light bulb is really great. There is something to be said about, you know, Boktai's design, another new tool here. The way it makes you go outside. What was that guy? I wasn't even paying attention. I guess he wasn't one of these. Well, whatever. Anyway, you know, Boktai, I think the design idea behind it was that the Game Boy Advance had such a terrible dim screen that they wanted you to go outside and play in the sun so you could actually see the screen, and also maybe get some vitamin D. And Boktai came out right as I had just moved to a new city, San Francisco, and so I kind of use that as my excuse to go places. I would take the game out to write about it, you know, to work on. I don't think I reviewed it, but I wrote a feature about it. And that was my chance to go like check out the parks and stuff like that. So that was kind of nice. And also, when I beat the game, it was late in the afternoon one day, and the sun was setting, and you have to use the sun to beat the final boss. So there was like this real sense of panic. Wow, something hit me for more than one hit point. This real sense of panic as I was trying to finish the game before the sun went down. And I managed to beat the final boss just before the sun disappeared over the building across the street, so that was pretty awesome. You know, kind of a memorable moment. Although, being able to play Boktai indoors at any time of day is still nicer than those memories. So, long rambling story short, a cool Game Boy Advance game designed to make up for a deficiency of the Game Boy Advance. Produced by Hideo Kojima, and you can cheat by using the right kind of light bulb. If I ever figure out what kind of light bulb to buy, I will definitely link to it and let people know, because I'm sure there are some people who would dig playing Boktai without having to be outdoors, or, you know, maybe Christmas break, you're like, boy, I sure would love to play Boktai, but it's about 20 degrees outside, 20 Fahrenheit, for you Canadians in the audience. So that's good to know. Alright, I'll go ahead and finish this boss off. I'm sure that he's not going to destroy me. And then I'll switch to a different game. Eat that, Manticore. I don't know, that's a little cheesy. What do you think, guys? That was kind of cheesy. I'm a bad person. So I don't even remember what the Manticore soul does. Was that a Manticore soul? I don't think it was, actually. I'm not sure if the bosses have souls. That's not an existential question, it's just, you know, talking about game mechanics. Let me switch to one last weapon, and then I'll look to wind this thing down. I think Joyeuse turns stuff into gold, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, that's the sword in Symphony of the Night. You can use the special attack to cause gold pieces to fly out, but I guess not in this one. It's just a yellow sword. So I'm working my way into the castle. Okay, you're starting to see enemies that can actually do some damage to me. That's good. I'm starting to question this this hard mode thing. Someone in the stream asked if I could play a Pokemon GBA game. The answer to that is no, because I don't own any. Sorry, I've never been really that much of a Pokemon fan, and didn't really start to play any of the games in earnest until DS. And the reason why is because Pokemon is a series that I really feel lends itself to tiny bursts of play, and being able to close the lid and instantly put the game on hold, like you can on DS, was the difference between the games being playable and not fun at all for me. So, unfortunately, I cannot help you with the Pokemon Game Boy Advance games. I actually don't own that many Game Boy Advance games these days. Kind of lost interest in the system with when the DS came out. I realize that makes me a bad person, but, you know, you move on, you grow, you learn to live and love, and then you move on. And it looks like I can't double jump yet, so that is a dead end. And I think I'll just go ahead and call it quits here for this game. Okay, so I need to bring up the menu to eject the cartridge. And switch over to something else. And here we have a cartridge that's going to stick out of the front of the game system, the GameCube I'm playing, slightly awkwardly. Because this game is... come on. It's by Game Freak, but it's not Pokemon, sorry. That's right, it's Drill Dozer. Okay. Oh man, what happened? My save file, it's gone. Damn. Okay, well, I guess we'll play early on in the game, which is probably just as well, because I haven't really played this since, like, 2006 or 7, so I guess it's probably just as well to start over. So, yeah, Drill Dozer, a game designed by Game Freak, the creators of Pokemon, but before Game Freak made Pokemon games, they made action games, and they made a really great Sega Genesis action game called Pulse Man, very Mega Man-like. And this was, as far as I know, the first time they had really gotten back into making that kind of non-Pokemon, non-RPG kind of game since the Pokemon series took off. So this was kind of a cool little, like, hey, we did something different. And I actually don't remember how to play this game. Oh, there we go. Yeah, hit the shoulder buttons, and there's different gears, but you have to gear up. Power up in each stage to find the gear for your dozer. But as you can see, you can break through walls and so on and so forth. I really haven't played this game in a long time, so bear with me. It's going to take some practice. I think that was a platform that I could have used later on to get through. Oh man, how do I play this thing? Yeah, this may not work out very well because I don't remember most of the mechanics. Isn't that great? So I actually don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Oh, right. Down. Okay. There we go. Everything can be destroyed with a drill. It's such a great looking game. The heroine is really weird looking, but everything else is really cool and has that kind of Masuda, is that his name? Style. I always like platformers that kind of break with platformer convention, and this one definitely does that. It starts out, you know, you're just like cruising around, drilling things with your drill machine, but then the drilling feature starts to come into play more, such as here. For whatever reason, the bad guys were like, hey, let's make this place out of... Oops. There we go. Okay. We only do a little bit at a time. Maybe I should have practiced this before I did a stream, but what can you do? I like flying by the seat of my pants. Anyway, once you gear up, the game really starts to challenge you to play in different ways, and you do a lot of advanced jumping by using the drill to sort of grip onto things. And again, you have the power-ups, so that becomes a big part of it as well. I do question the fact that I think, trying to protect art in an art museum and in the process destroying all kinds of art. I think that makes me a bad person, but I don't know. I don't have time to debate the morality of it. So as you can see, when I use the drill, it kind of hits max power and then declines. And once you get higher gears, you can drill for longer, which is really helpful when you need to destroy things like this. Yeah, I can't actually destroy this wall because it regenerates, and it regenerates at the same speed that my drill recovers, so I have to come back later once I've acquired a faster drill, a more powerful drill, higher gears. And I think that's going to be that right there. Yep. And, oh, Kintsugi Mori, that's it. Yeah, Masuda is the director. Okay. Okay, so you can see now I can shift up. If I can do it right. There we go. Yeah, it takes a little bit of practice, but... yeah, it helps me blast through that, so good deal. And now I can shift up and destroy that wall. Such a cool game. This really needs to show up on Virtual Console. I don't think it has. One of the interesting things about this cartridge, I mentioned that it's going to stick awkwardly out of my GameCube while I'm playing, and that's because Drill Dozer has a larger than usual cartridge. There's a rumble device in the cart, and as you drill, the cartridge starts to shake. It doesn't really do that when it's plugged into the Game Boy player. I mean, it probably is shaking, but you know, it's not something you can feel because it's sitting on a shelf someplace far away, and I'm just using a controller in my hands. But when you play this on a Game Boy Advance or an early model DS, it really gives you this great sensation of, you know, power and speed. And I just solved a Resident Evil-style police puzzle. Makes no sense. Someone in the chat mentioned that the game is on Japanese Virtual Console with Rumble intact, so I'm assuming Wii U Virtual Console, where the gamepad has Rumble, so that's cool. I'm sure that will make it to the US eventually, but Japan always gets cool stuff before we do. For instance, I think Earthbound just came out today on North American Virtual Console, and it's been out since 3DS Virtual Console on for Super NES launched several weeks ago. So it's, you know, this whole second-class citizen thing. Get used to it. And this one is a level 3 door, so I can't beat that yet. Such is life. But I can use those jelly blocks to bounce off of. That's how the advanced platforming comes into play. Some of the later levels in the game are just crazy hard and require really advanced platforming using the drilling, jumping, and everything like that. Someone in chat is referring to the Wii U as Weeaboo. Weeaboo. I don't think that's politically correct. But there is a great feeling of satisfaction, even without the rumble feature, to the shaking and the drilling and the destroying. Kind of sound like Jeff Goldblum now, but you know what I mean. Alright, so this requires a little bit of practice. Oops. I'll get there eventually. There we go. I've run out of cool things to say about this game, so maybe I will just continue playing without jabbering a lot, and you can enjoy the game and the music, and maybe I can learn how to jump. So I think at this point I'm looking for the third gear so I can get through that door I saw earlier, and I don't think that's the gear. Nope, that's just a thing. And there's probably a way to get through these that I will remember at some point, but I can't remember what it is right now. Ah, there we go. My third drill gear. I like the way the music changes. I can't hear it because I've got the music turned down, but for myself. But the music changes when you get the third gear to become very triumphant. It kind of reminds me of Skies of Arcadia when you get a boss down to like half life. The music changes. It's cool. Oh, I blew it. And the third gear, yeah, it allows you to drill indefinitely, so that's nice. Oops. Wow, that was really pathetic. Sorry about that. I'll get the hang of it, don't you worry. Don't you worry, kids. Alright. Back in the money. It's like riding a bicycle with a gigantic drill equipped on the front. So let's see, back to the beginning where I started out. There's probably something that I should have collected, but I didn't. That makes me a bad person. But I can get through that door that was locked. There we go. Oh, that wasn't cool. Not at all. Guess I shouldn't pin myself in the corner like this. I've done better. Boy, it's like Zelda 2. Another very complicated puzzle. Yeah, so I think I'll make it through this level and move along to another game, which I'll try to do Rhythm Heaven. I don't know how well that's going to work. Between my keeping the volume down and the fact that I'm playing this through an upscaler on an LCD TV, which means there's going to be a little bit of a lag. It may not work out very well, but Rhythm Heaven is a really cool game. It was one of those imports released at the very end of Game Boy Advance's life, only in Japan, alongside Mother 3, and really should have come here. But I think the one that's coming out for Wii U soon is based largely on the Game Boy Advance version. And if you're lucky enough to live in a city with a decent Japantown area, like San Francisco, there was an arcade version of Rhythm Heaven based on the Game Boy Advance version that some, like Japantown type arcades actually have. I know the one in San Francisco does, and I'm sure there are other places in the country that have imported Rhythm Heaven. And those are not movable. Tricky. Rhythm Heaven also came with stickers of the characters that I habitually put on my game systems to destroy the collector's value of the game because it's no longer complete. Because I'm a bad person. So I just destroyed a Pat Labor or something. And now I'm working my way through the sewage or whatever this is. To escape. I think I can destroy those. Ah yes, the art thing. So I think we're nearing the end of the stage. I don't know. The game kind of reminds me of WarioWare in terms of structure, and that there's kind of like a climax to each stage, and then a lot to do after you reach that point. So the levels can be fairly lengthy, though not as drawn out and tedious as the ones in that new Chibi Robo game. Man, that was a bum. And I'm trying to remember how I launch myself off of this thing. There we go, like that. Alright. I don't know where I'm taking this dragon, but I'm sure it's important, whatever I'm doing. Oh, I think I need to jump up there. No, I can't do that. Well, that didn't work out. I look for one of these that's not like the others. There we go. Mystery solved. Oops. I guess this isn't really that interesting a game for an audience. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys are loving this. But I'm just going to skip past all those collectibles and try to get out. I really like the detail in all the backgrounds. There's a lot of variety. Guess I don't need to do the jumping thing until these guys. There we go. Oops. Could learn a few things from Scrooge McDuck. Seem to be having tremendous difficulty with this dog. There we go. What is it now, 2 dogs? You guys gonna do that to me? Oh, it's a pat labor. I'm sure I have to take the screw out at the end. That didn't work out so well. Well, I think we're going to die horribly here, so that'll be a quick and anticlimactic. Oh, there we go. There we go, okay. I guess I just keep my distance. Fly casual. Hey. Let's get that pattern going, buddy. Come on. I'm sure there's a trick to this that I don't understand, but here we go. This is a Nintendo published game, so I'm assuming 3 times is the charm. No! 4! Oh no. Everything I believed about video games is horribly wrong. Alright, that'll do it. Someone says it would be neat to see me try a 5-job Fiesta run for Final Fantasy V. I don't think that I have the endurance to do that on a live stream. I'm sure it would be cool to see someone do that, but I'm probably not the person. And I guess that's the end of the stage. All right. Yeah, let Cat do that, says Ingo Rider. Alright, so that's an area down. Yeah, I'm really having some doubts about the Rhythm Heaven thing, so maybe I'm not going to do that. Maybe that's a video for another time, maybe not a live stream. Let's cruise through this dialogue and get to a save point. Why, yes, I would. Alright, so we're going to jump out of Drill Dozer. And inspired by a comment in the chat, I'm going to play the other game that I have sitting here next to the GameCube. It is not Final Fantasy V. And I don't actually know if this still has a save file on it. I used this on a Retron 5, and that copies save files over, but it also has a tendency to corrupt save files, as I learned with whatever game that was that I was playing last week that had the corrupted... Oh, Metroid Zero Mission. There we go. So yeah, Final Fantasy VI Advance. Ba-bum! There we go. Press any button. Load game. We'll see what happens. Hey, cool. There's a corrupt save file. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, did you guys see that? It was like a 40-hour save file. Alright, well, we'll try this. Oh man, I'm inside Kefka's Tower. I have no idea what team I have or what they're doing. Good lord. How did I set this team up? Man, there's nothing like going into a game from a save file that's about 10 years old and wondering, what on earth am I doing? So, she's got a lot of stuff going on. It looks like she's learning Holy, so that's nice. And he is learning Poison? Really? You haven't learned Poison yet? Sad old man. Yeah, anyway, oh, Ultima, does he actually have the right Ragnar? Yeah, he's got Ragnarok equipped, so he's good to go. And finally, Gogo. Why do I have Gogo in my party? What about Gogo? Gogo doesn't even have an Esper equipped, does he? Oh, I guess he can't. So what skills does he have equipped? It looks like he's got Rage equipped. Alright, sure, why not? Yeah, so Final Fantasy VI. Everyone loves this game. Everyone knows this game, even if you played it as Final Fantasy III. Am I here at the end of... Is this like the end of the game? I really don't know. Man, it's been so long. Switch to another party and see what's going on. I'm sure that the first battle I get into is just going to wipe me out, because I am jumping into a very late game save file from a very long time ago. It looks like everyone is kind of all gathered together. I'm trying to remember exactly what you're supposed to do here. Anyway, this is the Final Fantasy with the biggest party. I've got another party of 4. Shadow's kind of bringing up the caboose at a mere level 41. My goodness, Shadow, get your act together. And let's go see the third party, what they're up to. And that's Cyan, whatever you prefer. Alright, let's see what happens. Will I die horribly? Demon Knight and Yojimbo. I have no idea what these dudes do. I'm gonna sketch this guy because why not? For some reason I have Umaro in my party. I can't imagine what I was thinking when I played this game. Alright, so I just used a sketch that did no good whatsoever. This is probably not the way to go about this stuff. Oh, it looks like that's a counterattack, and he killed Cyan, so that's cool. Alright. So I've got dual cast, so I can cast Raise and then Curaga on Cyan, so that's good. And Umaro just used Realm as a projectile, that's also good. Alright, so I bumbled my way through a victory, even though one of my characters died horribly. He's still standing, though. I'm going to use a Phoenix Down, because I've got so many of them. Who uses items in Final Fantasy games? Got a lot of high potions, too, so let's just burn through some of those for him. Is that like 250 hit points per use? What a waste. Yeah, let's just use up that high potion stock. I don't know where I'm going, but you know, this is the end of the game where I've gone and found my entire party, and I guess I'm supposed to be up here. I don't know. Anyway, I found my entire party and everything's cool, and I'm off to beat that guy, Kefka. Wow, she's using some pretty cool attacks there. Is that going to kill my entire party? Good grief. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so she counters with Ultima. Probably would have been good to have known that before I went into this battle. Yeah, that's the danger of just jumping into a save file. And I can't do the thing where I... Oh, man. Wow, she's casting Holy? This lady's serious. She looks so casual there, smoking her long cigarette with a fan. And someone just cast Death or Doom or something on Cyan. I'm loving this. Good stuff. Let's use Arise on Umaro. Yeah, so I'm basically just performing triage on myself. Oh my goodness, what is happening here? Wow, so you guys get to watch me just die horribly. Well, I guess that's good. I got one spell off. There we go. Let's get out of here. Man. I don't remember Kefka's Tower playing for keeps like that, but I think, you know, I've usually been playing the game for the past 30 or 40 hours and have kind of been going along with it as it gets increasingly difficult. But just jumping in. Final Fantasy VI has some fangs. I'm not just referring to Cyan's special skill. Yes, that's right. Who has the most expendable magic points? Realm does not. Wow, she's burning through the magic there. Well, I would love to be able to show you guys a really cool expert play of Final Fantasy VI, but this ain't it. But we can talk a little bit about this port of the game. It was... I guess I could have just used a sleeping bag or something there, huh? This was not the first time the game had been released in the US as Final Fantasy VI, but it got a new translation. Can't remember what I'm supposed to do here. Yeah, I got a new localization that kept some things people loved and got rid of others, and of course there was... Yeah, those guys look really dangerous, so goodbye. There was, you know, of course, the usual fan outcry about the localization, although, as localization outcries go, it was pretty mild compared to what we've been seeing lately, so I guess there's that. I think the big change for this version of the game was the audio quality, which was considerably reduced to fit within the Game Boy Advance's limitations, because it didn't have the Super NES sound processor, which was all sample-based and sounded really great. Instead, you had this kind of off-key version, the renditions, and there's a giant robot that's trying to kill me from behind. It's probably going to succeed, too. Yeah, so what was I saying? Right, the music kind of sucks. If you play the ROM version of the game, though, or play it on a Retron 5, which is pretty much the same thing, you can download a patch. You know, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing here, so... whatever. I'm just gonna wander around like an idiot. Anyway, you can get a patch that will let you restore the music to something more like what it's supposed to be. You can't actually patch that to a real ROM, because I think it takes a lot more memory than the system has to offer, or the cartridge has to offer. But, you know, the option is out there. There's a lot of content added to this version of the game. Some super bosses at the end, an entire extra dungeon. If I had thought ahead and planned to play this, I probably could have gone to the extra dungeon. It's a post-game dungeon, I think, or just late in the game, and shown that off. but instead you get to see me panicking at the sight of high-level in-game enemies. Anyway, Final Fantasy VI, very cool. This version of the game has never been reissued, and I would like for them to put it out on Wii U Virtual Console so that people can play this version without having to pay like $70 or $80 or whatever it's going for on eBay now. You know, the collector's bubble just keeps consuming everything. Anyway, I think that does it for my stream. Show your face, Scion. There you go. Alright, so thanks everyone for watching. Game Boy Advance turned 15 this month, this week. I have a really big retrospective. It's like, I don't know, 4,000, 5,000 words going up tomorrow on the system, kind of giving some context for the history and talking about its strengths and weaknesses and the various iterations it went through. So please look for that on USgamer.net. As for me, Jeremy Parrish, you can find me on the internet at USgamer and GameSpite on Twitter. And of course we stream, or we try to stream, every Tuesday and every Thursday afternoon, so usually you can find me doing a retro stream on Thursdays. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will play Rhythm Heaven for you someday, but not today. Thanks again, and catch you later.